Hey there, Joe Walsh, White Flag with Joe Walsh. Hope you had a good weekend. Let me give you a word right now, a word or two, and I'll be brief about what's going on right now in this expanding, beginning still, but expanding race, Republican race to become the nominee for president. What's going on in this race right now? I think there's a lot of misinformation out there. I don't think people understand. I think there's a lot of denial when it comes to this Republican race to be the Republican nominee for president in 2024. Let's be clear about a couple of things. Uh, this is Trump's nomination. It's his nomination to lose. I've argued incessantly. This has always been Trump's nomination. It was always his to lose. And yeah, that's fucking unbelievable to say that. And I said it on TV over the weekend. When you really sit back and think about it, Donald Trump is the overwhelming favorite to become the Republican nominee for president in 2024. 2 years, think about this, 2 years after he incited and led a violent attempt to overthrow an American election, 2 years after that, Trump is still the overwhelming favorite. He's still the leader of the Republican Party, and he's the overwhelming favorite to be the party nominee. 2 years after he led an insurrection. Trump's a criminal. He's a traitor. And unless something unforeseen happens, he'll be the nominee. He'll be the Republican nominee. Thing number two that you need to know. No challenger to Trump, none of them, really thinks they can beat him. None of them believe they can beat Donald Trump. Nikki Haley doesn't believe that. Mike Pence, who's getting in this week, doesn't believe it. Chris Christie knows he can't beat him. Tim Scott knows that he can't beat Donald Trump. Ron DeSantis knows that he cannot beat Donald Trump. None of them believe they can beat Trump. In fact, let's be clear, none of them are trying to beat Trump. None of them are really attacking Trump. None of them are really, DeSantis included, none of them are going to criticize Trump or are criticizing Trump. None of them. And I'm sorry. If you want to say Asa Hutchinson to me, fine. Good man. Has no fucking prayer. I say that as somebody who ran for president against Trump in 2020 and had no fucking prayer. Asa Hutchinson is not a serious candidate. Sure, he'll criticize Trump. He's not serious. And Chris Christie, who's going to get in this week, is not a serious candidate. He'll criticize Trump. Christie will attack Trump, but he's not a serious candidate. He knows he can't win. None of the candidates who are serious candidates who believe they have a shot to become the nominee, none of them believe they can beat Trump. And none of them are trying to beat Trump. And there's an important distinction there. DeSantis thinks he can be the nominee. Mike Pence thinks he can be the nominee. Nikki Haley, Tim Scott, they think they can be the Republican nominee, but none of them think they can beat Trump. Here's what I mean. DeSantis, Pence, Haley, they don't think they can beat Trump. They're not trying to beat Trump. What they're hoping for is that the justice system will take Trump out. That's what they're doing. That's why they're running. They're not running to beat Trump. They're running with the hope and the prayer that the justice system will take Trump out. Will do the dirty work that they all don't have the courage to do themselves. And if this sounds really familiar, it is really fucking familiar these past 7 years, right? All these Republicans these past 7 years who privately believe Trump is dangerous, who privately believe Trump is unfit, they've never said that publicly, they never will say that publicly, who privately have said, we wish Trump would go away. They've never said that publicly over the course of the past 7 years. They've always hoped for and prayed for somebody else, something else, to have the courage to take Trump out. An impeachment, an indictment, a conviction, death, right? A heart attack, anything that will take Trump out of the picture, because all of them Republicans, all of them DeSantis and Haley and Scott and Pence, all of them do not have the courage to try to take Trump out themselves. So that's what you've got right now. That's what we have. It's Trump's nomination. It's his party. A lot of candidates getting in, but they're all getting in not to beat Trump, but to hope that Trump somehow is out of the picture. An indictment or 2 or 3 or 4, a conviction or 2 or 3, a jail sentence or a heart attack, something. And they want to be the man or the woman standing there if and when Trump can't run. All of them are this way, DeSantis included. I mean, look at Mike Pence. Think about so none of them have a case. None of them have a case to make. They've all stood by Trump for 7 years. They've all praised Trump. All of them. DeSantis, Pence, Haley, Scott, Christie, all of them have been Trump cheerleaders the past 7 years. What case do they have to make? They've all said for 7 years Trump is the greatest. They've all said for 7 years we love Donald Trump. So what case do they have? Now they're running against him? They've all said Trump is the king. Now they're running against the king? They have no case. Look at Mike Pence. Vice President Mike Pence is going to get into the race this week. He's running for president. Why? What can Pence say? For 4 years, Mike Pence was on his knees worshiping Donald Trump. And now you're going to run against him? Why? That's really what it comes down to. Why? Ron DeSantis became governor because of Donald Trump. Ron DeSantis became governor of Florida because he got down on his knees and begged for a Trump endorsement and then wrapped himself in Donald Trump to get elected. Well, then why are you running against Trump? What's the case that Mike Pence has? Donald Trump is the greatest, and he did great things, but I want to be president? What is that? They have no case. This is what happens when you sell your soul to someone. How can you possibly, think about it like this, how can you possibly run against the very person you sold your soul to? How do you do that? What do you say? What case do you make? You can't. And you don't. I should add here that, and the media's got this wrong, as the media typically has a lot wrong, the Republican field is expanding, not because of Donald Trump. Like Pence is getting in this week. Christie's getting in this week. The governor of South Dakota is getting in this week. And there will be a few other candidates who will get in. Let me be really clear about something. They're not getting in because, again, they're trying to beat Trump and they think Trump is beatable. They're not getting in because they think Trump is weak. They're getting in, Pence and all the rest. Scott and Haley are in because they all believe Ron DeSantis is really weak. And he is, right? For a year or so, we've only had 2 Republicans registering in the polls. Only 2, Trump and Pence. Trump and DeSantis. Trump and DeSantis. That's it. Right? The narrative has been this is a 2-person race, Trump and DeSantis. Well, DeSantis has been out there for 4 months and he's done nothing but tank. So Pence and Haley and Scott and all the rest of them rightly believe that DeSantis is a really weak number 2. And remember, the bet they're all making is not that they can beat Trump, but that the justice system will take Trump out. And then when that happens, they'll be the alternative. That's DeSantis's play. Well, now it's clear that DeSantis is a really weak alternative. So Pence wants to be that alternative. Haley, Scott, Christie, and there'll be a few more. Again, not to beat Trump, to be the other man or woman standing if Trump's in jail and he just can't run. But that's it. And look, barring something really unforeseen, and I've been really clear about the fact that I believe another indictment is coming. I think that will strengthen Trump within the Republican Party. I think if 2 more indictments come, that will strengthen Trump within the Republican Party. I mean, think about this, right? Trump's indicted because of the classified docs thing, right? Trump's indicted down in Georgia because he criminally interfered in Georgia's election. What's Trump going to do? Trump's going to scream witch hunt. What will DeSantis do? What will Pence do? What will Haley do? What will Scott do? They have one choice. They have to kind of sort of scream witch hunt too, because that's what the base wants to hear. And if they don't echo Trump, then they're done. They're finished. You see the trap they're in? The trap their own cowardice put them in. And look, they can't scream witch hunt as loudly as Trump can. They can't do that. And I personally believe every indictment will just continue to strengthen Trump within the Republican Party. They're not trying to beat him. They won't criticize him. They're hoping and praying. This has been the story, the Republican story of these past 7 years, and it will continue in this race for the 24 nomination. Republican acquiescence, Republican silence, Republican cowardice. Hoping and praying, right? They all want Trump gone, but they don't have the guts, the courage to try to take him out. Hoping and praying something else takes him out. It hasn't worked, and I don't think it's going to work at all in this race for the nomination. Hey, I'm Joe Walsh. This is White Flag with Joe Walsh. Thank you for listening. Couple things. Go to my YouTube channel, White Flag with Joe Walsh. Go there, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Doesn't cost you a thing. Subscribe to my YouTube channel and you'll be able to watch these episodes in full. White Flag with Joe Walsh. Listen to these podcasts wherever you listen to your podcast. Tell everybody you know about White Flag with Joe Walsh. Go to startswith.us startswith.us. Sign up to get the Starts With Us newsletter. Become part of the movement fighting against the extreme division in this country. Thank you so much for listening. Have a great, great week. Be brave this week. Be brave.